Mr. Speaker, in 1987, the NDP introduced a land transfer tax to pay for the property registry. In 2014, the government sold the property registry to Teranet. Teranet now raises its own funds by selling the services that used to be paid for by the land transfer tax. Land transfers are now also taxed. This tax is an obstacle for many young professionals in Manitoba wanting to buy their first home. I ask the government, why is the Premier and his government making it more difficult for our young professionals to buy their first home here in Manitoba?
Mr. Speaker, the primary requirement for somebody to buy a home is to have a good job with a good salary. That's right. And Mr. Speaker, that's why we've made a record investment in Manitoba. That's why we've got the best job creation record in the country, Mr. Speaker. The best job creation record in the country, second lowest unemployment rate. When people have good jobs, they can afford to buy homes. Right. And every time we put resources in the budget, I hesitate to mention this again, Mr. Speaker, that member, among all the other members in the opposition, have voted against measures that create employment and good jobs in Manitoba. We're the good jobs party, they're the cuts party.
Mr. Speaker, over the last 16 years of NDP government, we have seen a net loss of 76,855 people out of Manitoba to other provinces. A net loss. One of the reasons has been that they continue to ignore our own young professionals with a system that provides the economic disincentive of a very high land transfer tax when purchasing a new home. Will the Premier now admit the error of his ways and adopt the Liberal position that the land transfer tax on sales of homes to first-time home buyers should be eliminated?
Mr. Speaker, we have a growing population in Manitoba. Over 15,000 people came to the province last year. We have a younger population, average age 37 years old, Mr. Speaker. We have the lowest unemployment, one of the lowest unemployment rates in the country. We have more people participating in the economy than we've ever seen before, Mr. Speaker. We have the #1 record for job creation. We've seen very significant growth in wages in the province of Manitoba. We've seen very significant increases in productivity, which allows us to be more competitive, Mr. Speaker. Those are the indicators of a healthy economy for good jobs for young people. When they have those jobs, they can buy homes. And real estate sales have been very vigorous in this province, Mr. Speaker. They're doing very well. We just had many of them down here this week to see this piece of real estate called the Manitoba Legislature, and they reported to us that their industry's had a good run while we've been in office. We'd like to keep that run going, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, and the net loss last year was equivalent to half of the people who came here. Mr. Speaker, someone buying an average-priced home in Manitoba for the first time has to pay more than $3,000 in land transfer tax. It's no wonder that people who are looking at buying their first home are not staying in Manitoba. The Premier's archaic land transfer tax policies remain a disincentive for people to stay and buy a home here in our province. Can the Premier see how the Liberal position of removing the land transfer tax on sales of homes for first-time homebuyers would encourage people to stay here in Manitoba instead of moving elsewhere?
Any young person, and we've all been there, wants to buy a home, first thing they check, how reliable is my job? Will I be employed in Manitoba? Can I put some of my paycheck aside every week or every couple of weeks into a plan so I can afford to make a down payment? That's what we're focusing on. Good quality jobs, good skills, good training, Mr. Speaker, a good education system, and a good opportunity to have a trade or a skill or an occupation or a profession. That's where we're focused. The member opposite votes against all those initiatives in the budget. And then when I look at his platform, it's the same one he had before. He wants to cut $450 million in payroll taxes. That means there will be less resources to build social housing. That means there'll be less resources to ensure that people get good jobs and training and skills in Manitoba, Mr. Speaker. The Liberal platform will not help young people buy homes because they'll be unemployed, Mr. Speaker.